Hey, I'm Mary.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're nerdy and nervous. Follow along with two longtime besties deep diving into obscure movies, musical theater, pop culture, and life's quirks. I'm in my house and I hear a gunshot.
We are here to laugh, overthink, and share stories from a friendship that's almost as old as we are.
Period. So grab your headphones and join us on this wild, nerdy,
And sometimes nervous.
ride.
Hey. Welcome back to the podcast.
Welcome back to Nerdy and Nervous.
Episode 2.
Yay! F2.
Episode 2, we made it.
So exciting. Very, very proud of our first ep.
It was super fun. It was such a fun one to edit and go back and look for all those like little photos and stuff.
Right.
I was so proud when I found that photo of you in the High School Musical. I did dig.
You did such good work. That was the journalism.
I went to our old middle school page and I literally scrolled.
That's how you found it?
Yeah, that's how I found it. Is I scrolled all the way back to that was 2016, I believe.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Other
Okay.
than that, like, what this week has made you nerdy and nervous?
Right. Weekly
Our weekly
Nerdy and
update.
Nervous catch up. Do you want me to go first?
Sure, you can go first.
Okay. Give you
So
time
I
to
need to think about
Yeah. Okay, well, I was thinking about this in the car. And, well, I'm going to start with the nerdy stuff
Okay.
because the nervous stuff is long-winded.
I was gonna say, I think I have a nervous one. And it will be a rant against LinkedIn, but
Ooh.
you can go.
Ooh,
I wanna
I'm
hear your-
excited about this. Okay, nerdy. First of all, something that made me very nerdy. I am solidly in the Beyonce versus Taylor debate. I am solidly in the Beyonce camp.
Okay, I didn't know there was a debate. I don't pay attention to
Well,
the internet.
Here's the thing. So Billboard,
Who is?
or is it Pitchfork or Billboard? They
Heard of
made a
this.
ranking, I think top 100 artists of the 21st
Okay.
century, and they announced that Taylor was number 2.
Who's number 1?
Well, that's the thing. They haven't announced it yet, but everyone's like, gotta be Beyonce. But-
Okay.
All the Swifties are mad because
Okay.
they're like, Taylor should be number 1. But then everyone on TikTok is posting like, baby, Taylor can't do what this grown ass woman can do. And they're like posting like insane Beyonce concert clips. Like, and I'm sorry. Like okay. I listened to the opening song of Cowboy Carter,
I
country
really
album.
love Cowboy Carter.
American Requiem, the song that she opens with.
Good.
Re-listen post-election.
Shit. Should I?
It goes insanely hard. Tears from my eyes.
Okay.
She is just a visionary and it's a moving piece, like truly moving. And I'm like, I've never listened to a Taylor song and felt that way and been like, this is so relevant and poignant and emotionally like I know that she has emotional songs and I know that people like feel it in their hearts and like that it's very important for them, but like this is important for like the world. Like she did something so incredible and it just like I was like, I've never had a song like honestly by any artist be so like just really get to the heart of what I feel like a lot of people are feeling.
Yeah.
Her experience as a Black woman in this country is like so, you know, it's expressed like in that as well. I don't know. It's a masterpiece. Like the whole album is fantastic, but specifically American Requiem is just
I'm
And
really
it's
loving
so
that
true.
song. Like on
it's
the
amazing.
album.
Right.
Because I was like in my listening phase when that album
Right.
came out and I listened to because I haven't listened to much Beyonce. I definitely have listened to more Taylor.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's a good point where it's like, yeah, when I think about like Taylor songs are very like fluff. Like even I feel like her like they're good,
Mhm.
good, but like I think Lost Culture said it best, where they were like,
shout out Lost Culture.
shout out Lost Culture, is that Taylor
Love.
is very gluttonous.
Ooh.
There's just so much of it. Like, she
Mhm.
just puts out so much of it that you can't really savor it. It's just kind of there, like boom, boom, boom. You listen to it. And there are moments when, like, oh, I want to hear a Taylor song or something. But yeah, Beyonce is definitely, like you said, like, I remember listening to that whole album and, like, being obsessed with it for a while
Mhm.
when Cowboy Carter came out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, really incredible. I just think, truly, I think there's no debate. Like, and I'm sorry. I don't want to alienate anyone. It's how I feel. That's something I'm feeling nerdy about.
So what did they do? Nervous. You said you had, like, a rant.
Nervous.
To go on.
So remember the last time we recorded? Get to the castle. Story time. I briefly kind of mentioned what happened, that they accused me of looking at them out the window,
Yeah.
which we weren't.
The blinds were closed.
The blinds were closed and we were
Facing
facing away from the window. Anyway, few hours later, after that, I'm in my house and I hear a gunshot. I'm laughing because nobody died or anything. if that had happened, it would not have been
very
funny.
solemn. We heard a gunshot.
A gun went off. And it was so loud and jarring because they're literally at the apartment, like, next to mine. So that was crazy.
Yeah.
And called 911. Without going into too many details, somebody got shot non-fatally. He's totally fine. And the girl got arrested and taken downtown. And basically, they caution taped off our entire block.
Oh my god.
Every cop and his buddy showed up.
Oh my
The detective got our names, like our witness stories. Also crazy. I've never called 911 like that before.
god. Yeah.
So that was really kind of nuts to, like, actually call 911 and, like, report, like, someone got shot. And then they're, like, asking you all these questions, and it's like they're, like, transferring you to different lines, and you're talking to, like, 3 operator. Like, it just really crazy. So anyway, nerviness, also just like the PMS depression. I'm over it. I'm really over it.
Say it louder.
Like, why am I a raging a-hole for a week and a half before my period? Why do I hate my life, myself, my body, my skin?
Hormones,
I don't want to do anything. I want to lay in bed and rot. But then if I lay in bed and rot all day, I feel terrible because I'm like, wow, I'm a lazy piece of shit.
Right. I mean, I feel like I have this without the PMS.
And I just want to eat carbs. And then I feel bad because then I'm just eating carbs and I feel fat. Anyway.
The carbs
Not
feel
getting
so
into that,
good.
yeah.
I mean, they don't, but they do.
Short term, yes.
Short term validation.
Emotionally, good.
Emotionally good.
Physically, not great.
No.
That's my catch up.
What's your catch up? Okay, I have to
Your
think-
turn.
Okay, let me try to think about what has made me nerdy, because absolutely nothing. I guess I've been really into Gilmore Girls. I'm on, like, season 3, so Rory has gone to Yale. She's so annoying.
I feel like Rory Gilmore and Carrie Bradshaw are 2 TV characters that
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
loves to hate.
Yeah, very
Love to hate
much
'em.
So just love to hate them. But yeah, Gilmore Girls has been fun. Have been enjoying watching that. I feel like that's been, like, mainly, and then Sopranos, which I just finished. So now it's just going to be Gilmore Girls. Other than that, not much nerdy stuff happening, which is unfortunate. I wish there's more. There's not.
Can I suggest a TV show?
Sure.
It's not like Serial or anything. Like, it's just like one-offs. But like an Anthony Bourdain show.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just like fun, interesting. He's funny.
Yeah.
Like, he goes to, odd places, tries
Yeah.
different things.
No, but yeah, that's been, like, the main nerdy. Not much nerdy stuff happening, but nervy is just a rant on LinkedIn. because can we just talk about like, I guess it's like a trend now. And I didn't like, you see more people posting about it where basically these companies will just post all of these jobs and they're like called ghost jobs. So basically like a job is posted that they don't actually have a role for. So yeah, I like saw like a post today where it's like someone like did a stat. It was like 50% of jobs on LinkedIn are ghost jobs right now, or like, and you can always tell because it's like they'll post a job and then it'll get taken off and then they'll repost it again, or they keep reposting it in different ways. And like, they're just not real jobs. Like you spend all this time writing a cover letter, formatting your resume to be perfect for that job. And then they're probably not even looking at it because it's probably not a job they even have. And I didn't really realize it why, but someone said like, it's to get people to drive to their website. And I'm like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. But it's so fucked up in the same way where it's like, I'm putting all my time into these jobs and you don't know.
That's horrible.
You don't know if it's a legit job or not. It's just like LinkedIn and like the job market is a hellhole right now.
I've been hearing the same thing from so many people.
It's horrible.
It's hard to find full-time work that's like relevant to your area.
Yeah.
It's easy to find like part-time BS, but it's like I've heard so many people where it's like I cannot find a job like with my degree. Like,
and it's every degree. It's not just, and which is so like, it says a lot about like the state of the job market. Whatever. It's like if no matter what degree you're graduating in, someone is saying good luck to you. Like,
right.
It's tough. It's tough out there, and there's so many like, I don't understand these job marketers. I've seen so many rants. So like a lot of this is reiterations of things that I've seen other people say that I'm like, that's exactly how I've been feeling, is where you see a job post and it's like, maybe it'll say entry level or the pay is definitely an entry level pay, but it's like, we want you to have 5 to 8 years experience. And it's like, so, and like one girl had me cackling. She's like, sorry, I should have, been marketing when I was in the womb. I should have been learning
5 to 8 years ago, you were not even driving. So yeah, right. Or barely.
Yeah, it this makes no sense. Yeah, I'm so frustrated with the job market with LinkedIn, and I need it.
Unfortunately or fortunately, I don't have a degree to find a relevant job with. So I'm working on it. Working on a history degree.
Okay, sick. What would you want to do with like it?
Like if we're shooting for the moon here, like museum.
Oh,
curator.
Sick. Girl, okay.
Historian.
That's really cool.
Like working in a museum. Slay.
Yeah, weirdly enough,
fun.
like, I don't know. There's like, I remember when I went to like a career fair back when I was in school. There's a lady there and she worked for the Field Museum. And it was really interesting where she was saying, like, with the degree I have, she was like, I got a similar degree. And then I went into museum work. She was like, I went into museum, like, cultivation and stuff, like, with a digital media degree. Because a lot of museums now are going into the digital space.
Yeah. I feel like it would be cool to do, like, nonprofit stuff, too. Like, fundraising or even just, even if I wanted to go into like the education part of it, like being a museum director, like that would be so cool. But that's more business. But like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know that I'm super passionate about the subject.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you have to go, like, you've always been very knowledgeable about history. Like, that's something that can, like, stick in your brain.
Thank you.
She's a historian.
Literally.
Was like, I have a lot of trouble. Like, I like history a lot. I've always, like, that's a class I've enjoyed. But I have a lot of trouble with facts sticking in my brain. Like, I feel like I did really bad on tests and stuff because I was like, I did care about this and I am passionate about it, but the facts don't stick. I can't remember dates. I can't remember names. I can't remember places, which are pretty important for history.
I think the key is, like, putting it in context. Like, if you're like looking at it like a story, you can remember the names of like the people in The Sopranos.
That's true.
Because it makes sense in the
also,
story.
I kind of can't. There's a lot of people in The Sopranos.
We're not getting back on The Sopranos.
No. Back to history.
No. I'm joking.
17.
But we remember all the Hamilton lyrics, so we can't remember. Because they put it in context. Because they made it a story.
They put to music.
Yes.
That helped a lot.
Absolutely. But I don't know. I think if you're passionate about something, then you're gonna like remember it because your
For
brain is
sure.
like, oh, I like this a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, like film history was really cool. I remember
Mm.
loving to hear about, like, I liked my film history class a lot. And environmental history. I took environmental
Ooh,
history class.
cool.
I feel like you would really enjoy it. Go to Elmhurst. Just take that one class that I took.
Shameless Elmhurst plug.
Hello,
Elmhurst,
Sarah pitches us to go to
biggest fan.
Elmhurst. They are. I'm their biggest fan.
She loves her alma mater.
I'm a alumni.
Blue Jay forever.
Blue Jay forever. I know, such a peaceful little mascot. Not aggressive.
Everybody's got tigers and bulldogs and
We're Blue Jays.
lions. Little bit.
It's like a little Blue Jay.
So cute.
I've always had like cute mascots, like at Dundee Highlands. We have the Dundee Dolphins.
Okay, let's talk about the Dundee
Remember your
Dolphins.
Dolphin dollars.
Yes. Our elementary school chose dolphins as its mascot. Given we're in a landlocked state in Illinois, why dolphins? I don't know, because it was come up with by children.
I would say I think we voted
We voted.
because
It was a democratic election for the dolphins.
I say, wasn't it when we were in like 5th grade? Like we didn't have a mascot till we were in like 5th grade. Before then, we just had no
Right.
mascot,
Right.
which I guess is
Yeah.
normal. We're in elementary school. It's not like we had teams or anything.
I voted for the deer
Okay, I don't
I said
remember
Dundee
any
deer?
of the votes.
because, or the Dundee dogs, like it's something. A dolphin?
These dogs out here.
I guess we grew up with a pool by us called Dolphin Cove.
Oh,
So
I
Dolphin
wonder if that's
Cove
where-
was in like the Dundee zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Thinking about dolphins.
And now they're
part of the Dundee
Highlanders. That's way
Right.
worse.
But it makes sense with the name of the school.
It's similar to us being the Chargers in high school. It's like a human is our mascot, but it's like a
But
human.
he's a lancer though. He's he's charging.
What is a Highlander?
It's like a Scottish guy.
Yeah, but he's just a Scottish guy.
He's a Highlander. At my parents' high school mascot, or my dad's high school mascot, was the Fightin' Tartans.
Tartan?
The Tartans.
Not the Titans.
The Tartans.
Okay.
Which it was a Scottish guy, but tartan itself is just fabric.
Oh.
It's like a kilt,
Okay.
like the plaid
My
patterns,
mascot was a
just
kilt.
tartans. So interesting.
That's
But the
fun.
Fightin' Tartans, I remember laughing my ass off as a kid when he told me that because I just imagined like a piece of fabric like being the mascot, like coming down from the ceiling on like a string.
Could you imagine
like,
the mascot?
and
It's
here
just-
it is, the Fightin' Tartan. It's like a fucking piece of fabric coming
Not even a full skirt. It's just a single.
like that
strap.
was that like image was so funny to me as a kid.
Okay, so future Sarah jumping in here because we completely shifted gears without explaining the next segment. Basically, we wanted to see what only child stereotypes were out there, and as experts on the topic, we decided that we would break down whether or not we agree with them.
All right.
So according to what site is this?
According to Suzanne Newman, PhD.
Okay, well she's a doctor.
.com.
She's a doctor.
She's a social psychologist.
Okay, so she has like facts versus myths about only children. So me and Mary
Yeah.
are both only children, always have been.
My whole life, yeah.
Yeah, so according to the PhD, myth 1. So this PhD woman has said like what the myths are already.
Right.
So myth 1.
Myths about only children.
Yes,
And we as reliable sources
Can
are going to
Confirm or
confirm or deny. Right.
So only children are aggressive and bossy. I would say yes, but not more than any other child.
And the thing
Like I
is,
think
it's
we have
like,
to compare it to other.
is it like I'm aggressive and bossy because I'm an only child, or
Because
because
that's my
that's just who I am?
That's what I think it is. I don't think it's because of an only child, but I was definitely aggressive and bossy.
I think that I would not now describe myself as aggressive and
No.
bossy. I think maybe as a child I was a bit bossy.
And I think had I had a sibling, I would have been way more bossy.
Interesting.
potentially more aggressive.
Interesting.
But I always wanted a sibling. I always wanted a younger sibling.
Did
I
you
think we
want a-
both did.
Sister or brother?
either. I would have taken either. I would
Yeah.
have happily had
Oh my
either.
gosh, I remember one of my only child friends growing up.
Yes.
She was also an only child. And I remember she told me that like her parents were trying to have another kid, and I was so jealous. I was like,
So
I like
jealous.
went to my parents and I was like, why aren't you guys having another kid? And my mom was like, I have a chronic illness, so no. And also, you're enough.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're more aggressive or more bossy, or that it's because we're only children.
No more than
that
the
we
average
were those
person.
things.
I feel like we should have a third party here to like be like, no, you are.
You are aggressive and bossy.
We're not. We
We're
are not
not.
aggressive
We're
and
not.
bossy. Okay, myth number 2. All only children have imaginary companions to compensate for their loneliness.
Did you have an imaginary friend?
I did not. You did?
I did.
Tell me.
I did, but I didn't. I never, like, I wasn't. I don't know if, like, it's a thing. Like, I never thought they were real. Like, I don't know if, like, there are some kids who think they're real. I never did. I knew they were imaginary friends. But I think it was just like I conjured them up in my head because like I watched an episode of Arthur or something where they had imaginary friends. I'm like, that's a cool concept. But it was Heidi, Queenie, and Secret were my three were the names of my 3 imaginary friends.
Heidi is also an insane name for your imaginary friend.
I don't know where the names came from. I was young. And I have very little memory of, like, if I did anything with them. I don't think I did. I don't think I ever talked to them. I don't think I played with them. I think I just said, these are my
I don't
imaginary
remember
friends.
Secret or Queenie. Wait, I feel like Queenie sounds familiar.
Did I bring up
Don't
Queenie?
remember Heidi and Secret, though. Secret and I never met.
I know. I'm trying to remember, like, what the deal with Secret was. So as a little kid, I was really into Secret Agents, and that's the only thing that I can
Yes.
think of.
Oh,
I had like a huge obsession with spies.
Girl,
Spy Kids was
yes.
out, so I'm thinking that maybe Secret was like a secret agent
that
or something.
spy
Like,
kit you had with the
Oh,
walkie-talkies.
So cool. Well, those were separate. I had these things
Oh.
walkie-talkies separate, and then for one of my birthdays, I got this little briefcase,
Yes.
and it had like
So
invisible ink. It had these
Right.
glasses that could read like coded messages that came with the kit. I had a periscope that was separate, but I had a
Ooh.
periscope. I think that's what it's called, like the little
Mm-hmm. Peek around
the
corners
fake
and
peek
stuff.
around
Yeah,
corners.
so cool.
Yeah, it was sick. Oh, I had a little fake mustache that you could put on.
Very important.
Very important when
For
you're
anonymity.
trying to disguise yourself.
Mhm.
Anyway, I guess
Cool.
like I'm kind of proving the stereotype.
She's proving it right.
But I don't know if it was to compensate for my loneliness.
Right.
I just because I like I said
Yeah.
I didn't talk to them or I don't think did anything with them. I think I just said I just created them.
Yeah. That's cool. Myth number 3. Only children are spoiled.
I don't know. This is a tough one because it's like technically I guess we get all of our parents' attention.
Sure. I feel that it's not. When I think of spoiled, I'm thinking of material things.
My Barbie dream house was a cardboard box. My Barbie dream house was multiple cardboard boxes stacked together. Do you remember my cardboard Barbie
Yes,
house?
of course I do. Yes, of course I do. But you also had a playhouse that was big if it wasn't for Barbies.
I definitely had a lot of great things as
Mm.
a kid, like so many Legos. Like I definitely had a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah. I feel like you weren't just like given everything that you wanted.
Oh,
though.
no,
Like
no,
it
no.
wasn't like that. And I don't think that
We had a lemonade stand and we worked for our money.
we worked. Yes.
We
yes.
were-
Entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
I think I would say that I was spoiled. But I feel like my parents tried not to. It was the rest of my family that spoiled me.
Okay.
So the situation is like my parents are both the youngest in their like respective families, and they did not have me until they were much older. So by the time that I was born, all of my parents' siblings had already had kids,
okay.
they were already like 13, 20, 30, you know, like they were all grown up already. So all of my cousins are much older than me. So all of my aunts and uncles were just over the moon when I was born because they had a
Okay.
baby to spoil. I'm like, everyone loves buying clothes for babies. Everyone loves buying toys for little kids.
Yeah.
Everyone loves giving a toy to a kid on Christmas and telling them, you know, it's from Santa. Like, everyone loves that. So I think my parents both being the babies of their families, all their older siblings were just like obsessed with me.
Yeah.
So I always had gifts for every holiday. I would have boxes show up from my aunts for St. Patrick's Day,
Really?
Easter, Valentine's Day, my
Okay.
birthday, Christmas was insane. Like
That's,
every single
yeah.
holiday, they just spoiled me. Like truly,
that's amazing.
they spoiled me. Now that I'm an adult, it's not like that.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunate, right?
talking
When
about
I
the-
really need the
When I
money,
really need the money. It stops coming in. Why would I invest in
they
that?
turned off the tap on me.
Turn off the tap. Yeah, no, that was, yeah. Like the second like new babies are born and now they're the focus. I'm like, why are they getting?
Mm.
Why are
Am I
they
not
getting
good
all this
enough?
stuff? Am I not good enough anymore? Am I not cute?
You are.
Don't I have my cuddly cheeks?
You can squeeze me.
But yeah, that's so interesting.
So in that respect, I would say yes. And I just think
And being an only child probably did affect that a little bit. Like
Right.
if you had a little sibling or
yeah.
something,
for sure.
you would have had to share the wealth.
Yeah, it was all the attention on me all the time. And I think
You had so much Playmobil.
I had
It was so cool. You were so cool.
was obsessed with Playmobil.
Do you have any of it still? Because
No.
you had like
No, we gave it all away to
All
our
of it.
pastor's kid. And I'm like, why did you do that? What if I wanted to play with it still?
and Mary, yeah, no, because you were like, I was definitely a Lego kid, but you had all this Playmobil, and I thought Playmobil was equally as cool, but I just like it was one or the other. It's like if I'm gonna ask for people for stuff, like they're either gonna get me one or the other. Not
You
both.
did have a Playmobil. Didn't you have the pyramid?
Oh no! I remember. I still have it. I
Oh.
have kept
Oh.
most of my toys.
Oh.
So it was a Playmobil Sphinx, and if you opened it up, a mummy was inside. And I remember that was really cool.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
like one of the presents I
Yes.
got.
And a pirate ship?
I had a Little People pirate ship, not a
Oh,
Playmobil.
okay.
But yeah, you had like so many cool. You had like
Girl.
an airplane.
We could do a whole episode about Playmobil.
You had a whole city. We would set up your city
Dude,
in your
it
room.
was so cool.
Because I remember we was like an occasion to play. It was like we're gonna set up the whole city and we're gonna
Yes.
play with it. But then we spend
Yes.
the whole day setting up the
We
city
would
that we
spend
never had time to
Ow,
play.
yes, exactly. It was like time for dinner. And we were like,
no.
dude, oh my God.
So much fun. I have so much good memories playing Playmobil.
It was such a good toy. Like if I ever have a kid, they will play with Playmobil. Because it's like creative
I like
play,
yeah.
you know?
It was there was a little bit of a building aspect where you could like change their clothes or
Yeah.
like fix, but like yeah, it was very functional and
Mhm.
I loved Playmobil.
Yeah. Super fun.
Super fun.
So
So you would say a little bit spoiled
I would
because you're an
say
only child.
a little spoiled. And just because, I mean, I think that my parents did as best they could to like keep me humble, like to not make me into like a
Same.
spoiled brat because we were not like rich. So it's not like I was just like getting everything that I could ever dream of. But you know, it wasn't like I was like wanting for things. I don't know, it's hard. I feel like it's hard to
I would never
gauge
describe
like if
you
I've
as
been spoiled.
Yeah, I guess like from an outside perspective,
Mhm.
I would never have described you as spoiled. But like, yeah, I feel like it's hard. Like, and yourself, you're just like, oh, I look back and like, well, yeah, I was like pretty privileged in like certain ways.
Right. But it's like, it's being grateful for what you have. Like,
right. It's like I
you know,
just grateful for what you have,
like,
but
we always had enough. you
right, we
know?
always had enough, and yeah,
Yeah, that's interesting.
plenty of Legos to play with.
I feel like spoiled is such a subjective thing.
It is
Like,
it
it's not
is.
really, like,
yeah. Is it
objective
material
term,
things?
right.
Is it like a like emotional thing?
Mhm, like
is it like the
attention.
attention you're getting? Because I could definitely see that where it's like as much as I'm sure parents try to treat all their kids equally,
Right.
their kids aren't equal. They're different
Yeah.
human beings.
Like if it was like shelter, like if I was like,
I wonder if that's an interesting question. Like, yeah, like were we sheltered? Because I would say like definitely not.
yeah,
I would, or in some ways, yes. I think like our generation was the beginning of like the super sheltered generation. And I think that my parents battled a lot with being part of like an older generation. Like my dad's a boomer, my mom's a Gen X. And I think that they remember a time where they didn't understand why I couldn't just go knock on my friend's door if I wanted to go play with them. And I was like, because that's weird as fuck. What do you mean? I'm not going to go knock on their door.
right. You call
them and see if they're available.
free. Sure.
And yeah, or like scheduling play dates, and parents are like, what the fuck is that?
Right. Well, on Wednesday I'm gonna go home with so and so.
Yeah, like it was a planned out thing.
Right.
And yeah, but there was a lot of freedom that I think I did have with like being able to kind of roam the neighborhood, or like I think it depended who I was friends with too. Like I remember in 5th grade, like one of my best friends.
She was also my best friend in 6th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost touch in 6th grade, kind of, because we were on different teams. But in 5th grade, like, we were just riding our bikes all around town. We would ride to Elgin and back some days.
Oh,
like,
fun.
We would go to the little custard shop down the street. Like, we were always out and about. But I've had other friends who were, like, their parents were very strict and were very much like, you can come over to our house. You can stay inside. We have a routine. Like, just like certain people were more strict about certain things. So I think in that way, but like my parents never had Life 360.
No.
Like they were never like trying to track.
I had very
anything.
unstrict parents,
Yeah.
which I think, in my personal opinion, unstrict parents breeds self-disciplined kids.
Yeah, I didn't
Like-
hear no very often.
Right. And yeah, it was never, and not to say like things didn't upset me or I was like, that's stupid. Like,
Right,
you know,
I guess like, yeah, if it was dangerous or it was like, oh, I want this toy or whatever. Like,
Right.
I guess I did hear
if things
no,
didn't go
but-
my way, I wasn't like, but they were never like, this is your curfew. You need to, like, I just
Yeah.
wasn't really a rebellious kid.
I think
so
that was
I don't
part
think
of
they
it.
needed to give me a lot of
I didn't have rules. or-
rules. Yeah.
especially as I got older. Like I guess when I was younger,
Yeah.
I had a bedtime and everything.
Sure.
There are certain things.
Yeah,
that I
but,
think, but yeah, once I got older, like
when
I was
people
in
are like,
high
yeah, my
school,
mom tracks me everywhere I go, that was never a thing.
never a thing. Yeah, I remember like having issues with like, yeah, my cousins, like they have cameras in their house. Like they had cameras in their house, like
Yeah.
yeah, they were just like being tracked, like text messages. Their parents would read their text
Right. Go through their
messages.
phones. My parents never did that.
My dad probably doesn't even know how to access that feature. He's had a flip phone. He would still have a flip phone if they were economical, but it became cheaper for him to get like a cheap iPhone. But yeah, I don't think they'd be able to. Like my mom is an IT person. I think she could figure it out. And I think that like there's a part of her that really wants to.
Sure. They never
Like, God
did.
bless, she hasn't.
I don't think they never had to do that with me because if, first of all, I wasn't really getting up to anything.
That was
It
boring.
was very boring. And also, if something ever happened, I would tell them. Like
Yeah.
they made it like a safe space to like if I messed up or if I did something bad, like just telling them was always, it just made me feel good. Like I was never like a secretive person. Like people, I would be shocked at people like just would lie to their parents all the time.
Yeah, I never really had to lie. I think that sometimes I would fib the truth, like, or be selective about what I said. Like, I think I would leave things out, or like,
Sure.
oh, I'm going to so and so's house, and then leave out like how many other people
That were smoking and going to Buffalo Wild.
Right, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go hang out with so and so, also with all these other people. We are gonna go get high and go see the new Spider-Man movie.
Right.
But again, it was
Right.
one of the things where it's like I was never getting in trouble because of it. Like it wasn't like I was ever getting arrested or anything.
Sure. No. Yeah.
It was
right.
always very harmless. I would come home stoned very often. My parents
me too.
never knew. Never had a clue.
I wonder if they ever knew. I've never
And
asked.
I've asked my parents, and my dad was like, yeah, I had no idea. And I was like,
Hmm.
remember those days when I came home and was happier and had a conversation with you?
Literally,
I was high.
literally. No, when I would come home from Vans and like be cracking jokes to my mom, it's like
I was high.
my eyes like glued shut.
Remember when I came home and wasn't biting your head off? I was high. Remember when you thought I was a pleasant human being?
Oh, she woke up on the right side of the bed today.
No. She just woke up with a pen in hand.
Only children must have their way. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is true.
This is true. This one they put as a myth, but this one we disagree with. I don't know if it
not
was
getting my way.
I've gotten so much better about it.
I am
But
so stubborn.
When I was little, I was very stubborn. I was very strong-willed, and I think like there's a little bit of OCD in there, which
Speak about
isn't
it.
an excuse, but it was present. So it was a little bit more like I would be in my head where I'm like, it's irrational that I'm getting this angry, that I'm not getting my way, or that I'm so upset. Like if routines got disrupted, sometimes I would be very upset by it. And yeah, I think that played a part, but yeah, definitely was be very upset. Like especially I would get very, very upset if like someone said like, oh, I'll do this with you, or I'll play with you, or whatever, and then they just don't, or they change their mind, or something comes up. I didn't understand the real world, that there's other things that can come
Other
up.
factors, right.
And I was like, this is hurting my soul that we can't go to the park right now.
Sure.
But yeah, I wanted to have my way, and I was upset when I didn't get my way.
I was always a force, for sure. Like I gave my mom a run for her money. I was so sassy. I always talked back. I was so sassy.
So
but
yeah, we
must have our way. Yes. Oh, only children are dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I think I am very dependent in certain ways. I also think that I'm more independent than a lot of people.
I also agree. I was a very independent child.
I
was happy to play on my own.
I always played on my own.
I love being alone.
And I have a lot of friends who said that they never did that. Like they were always with someone else.
I find that a lot of people hate being alone, can't be alone.
Yeah.
And I think independent play as a child is so important.
I was alone.
Just being independent at all. I literally love being by myself.
Like I need my alone
hanging out with myself.
Recharge.
Yes.
And yeah, and it wasn't even like, I think a lot of people with siblings, like it was like they had even shared a space sometimes where it's like, sure, maybe you're playing alone, but your sibling's right there.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Where it was like, I did have like a little playroom to myself, and I would just be in there playing alone for hours.
Yes. Me too. Bringing back Playmobil, I would be sitting at the table playing Playmobil for so long that my knees hurt because I was sitting on I would be like kneeling to like play at the table, and I had like knee issues because I would sit there for so long.
I wonder if that's why I have knee issues. Is it because we
only children have knee issues? Fact.
Also, this is such a random tiny tangent, but do you remember, I don't remember what park it was, but do you remember the tire swing? Do you remember? Okay.
South End Park.
No. It wasn't South End Park. I think it was in Huntley. Because it was the same park where they had a metal slide where you could slide down this giant metal slide. But then they had, and this was the coolest thing to this day's invention. It was so cool that my dad made a wooden version of it for
South
my
End
little
Park
people.
had a tire swing.
No. This wasn't just any tire swing. It was a rod in the middle. And then it was a 4-cross. And it was 4 tires. And I remember we would sit in the tires, and your dad was tall enough where he could reach the top of it, and he would just go like that to like the rides. And basically it was almost like that swings ride.
Yeah, where it would like fly out.
Yeah. Do you have any recollection?
No, I wish I did, because that's so cool.
Let me look up a picture of it.
I know exactly what you're like. I can visualize it perfectly what you're talking about, but I don't have a memory of it.
Oh man,
that's so cool. I wonder if my dad remembers.
You should ask your dad if he remembers it, because he might remember it more than we would. They took it down. It doesn't exist anymore. Okay, I'm not finding it. Because it was like, I guess, dangerous or whatever.
Everything fun is
Everything fun is dangerous, but I have such a good memory. And my dad always said that he was like, I loved going, because he thought it was so cool, but he was like, he's a short guy. And he was like, I loved going to the
Can't reach
Mark
the bar.
because
You just had a grade all the time.
because Mark was able to reach the top. Whereas my dad said that the way he would have to do it is he would have to grab a tire swing and literally run around with it to get it to go. But your dad could just stand in one place.
That's so funny.
Anyway, so back to if we're dependent.
So dependent, I think dependent maybe in the way that like I think I'm emotionally closer to my parents than I might be if I had siblings. I think if you have siblings,
you have
then
something else to be dependent
maybe
on.
that emotional connection is more with your siblings and less like with your parents. Like you kind of come together because like you're frustrated with your parents or something. Like that's like a bonding moment.
Which does suck.
I think sibling relationships are so interesting.
Over how annoying your parents
right,
can be sometimes.
Dude. Yes. I
love
always,
you guys.
I always held the stance that like having one child is like mild abuse because you're making one person endure all of that
It's two
without
versus
anyone
one.
to
It's 2 versus 1. It should be like illegal that you at least have 2 kids because
you
it's
have to have
equal.
2. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
2 versus 2.
It's like I can't. Yeah. But I think I'm much closer with my parents than I might have been if I had siblings. I think the interesting thing with only children is that like we are the youngest and the oldest child.
Yeah.
So we have kind of both of like the traits that you kind of attribute to like older children and youngest children. And like when you're talking about like birth order psychology, like we kind of have all of those.
Yeah.
So I think the dependentness of a youngest child and the independentness of an oldest child, I feel like that's kind of what it is to be an only child.
Yeah, especially because when I was young, like I said, like I would play alone a lot, but I was also very clingy. And I remember I would go through, I remember going through a phase where it was like I was too scared to sleep over at other people's houses. And it was just like a separation anxiety.
Right.
And I had that for a lot of elementary school.
Yeah.
And then I just got to middle school and was like, never mind, I'm done.
You know what cured that for me? White Pines.
Oh, I would say, you know what didn't cure it for me? You know what made it way worse was White Pines. Yeah, I have a vivid memory of, that was a terrible trip. I have only bad memories
Oh
from White
no,
Pines.
I'm sorry.
I had horrible allergies. So like
girl.
on top of this, so it was like out in the middle of nowhere. I famously had really bad allergies as a kid. I still
was on a horse farm.
Horse farm. I'm allergic to horses. I'm allergic to hay. Basically everything.
Why did you go?
I don't know. I shouldn't have gone, truly. But yeah, I went and I was homesick on top of like having these horrible allergies. Like it was all combined. And I was a really bad eater.
Oh.
So all these things combined was like I'm eating a Z-bar for dinner every night. The food is terrible also. Like my memory of the food is that it wasn't good. But I remember having these bad allergies and they would give me Benadryls. And then they'd make me go stand in the stands and sing. I remember having these vivid memories.
You had to sing?
Do you remember? I have like only because it was traumatic. It's like I don't
remember the food. I don't remember the singing.
I remember too much of this trip, probably because it's traumatic. But yeah, we like stood on these bleachers and had to sing camp songs, and I just remember like falling asleep and crying because I wanted to go to sleep.
Dude, I'm so
and
sorry.
I remember hearing a rumor that they let another girl who also took a Benadryl go to bed early.
Oh God.
And she got to go to bed early, and I was like, what does she get to go to bed?
But
yeah, I had a bad time on that trip. Like I was very homesick and very sneezy.
I'm so sorry.
It is okay, but I'm glad
I didn't know it was a traumatic experience. I just felt like independent. I was like, that's so cool. I like spent the night all by myself. I feel like empowered. Like it was like, that's so cool. All right. Last myth. Only children become too mature too quickly. This is an interesting one.
I think that it can I do think that being an only child does cause you to mature a little bit quicker.
But I don't think that that's too mature too fast.
No, not like in a bad way.
I don't think that that's a negative thing. It's not like I was like exposed to like
no. I knew kids
who
had older siblings and were probably being exposed to worse stuff.
they
too
were
much.
too mature too quickly.
I would say
in the
it wasn't,
fact that
too
they were,
mature,
like-
they were overexposed.
Overexposed, yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
think that like maturity
It's different
Is
than
a little
just
bit different than
overexposure.
overexposed
Sure.
because it wasn't like they were mature about the stuff that they were being
Right.
to.
We're talking about like sex.
Yeah,
basically.
sorry. Yeah, no, we did not know. I remember this is so funny, but like putting like for years trying to
Mhm.
put the puzzle pieces together of like what sex was and how
So,
it worked.
How did I get here? What does it mean? Yeah.
Like for a long time, I totally thought like if two people just laid naked in a bed
Yes.
together, accidentally,
I was
that's how
told-
the baby was made.
Well, a man and a woman kiss and hug, and kiss and hug, and then a baby grows.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's kind of accurate.
I mean, I'm sure they're kissing and hugging. A little more than that.
Technically, you don't need any of that.
It can be loveless
It can be lovely.
if you want.
But yeah, I remember, it was,
Oh my god.
there's a lot of puzzle pieces that needed to get put together.
Sure. But I think any kind of exposure in that way came from other kids,
Same.
not my parents.
No.
But in
And
the
a lot of
fact
those
that, like,
kids got it from their siblings,
I think I did mature quicker though,
Same.
because
You're
but I
talking to
wouldn't say that it was a
adults.
bad thing, right? I would say that it made me better. I was better socialized. Again, it's a life skill to be able to talk to people
hmm
older than you. That is important. I was able to talk to my teachers and my coaches and coworkers. And I think that's an important skill. And I think you're really at a hindrance if you were like this kid that couldn't talk, you know?
Mhm.
So I think in that way, yeah, I was mature, but I think it was to my benefit.
Yeah, I don't think it was like a bad thing ever. But I do think that like, being an only child does mature you a little bit quickly.
Mhm.
In the way that like if you were like us and talking to adults
Right.
and seeking
All
out
the
adults
time.
to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I hope that we cleared up some myths and some rumors for you
Yeah.
about only children.
And some we perpetrated.
Feel free to ask us, other questions about being only kids.
Yes, if you
You're
have
curious.
siblings. Did you talk to your friends' parents?
Right. And also tell us how you're different, if you have siblings.
Yeah.
A very interesting debate. Not
that'd be
debate,
very, very
discussion.
cool. All right, well, thank you
Alrighty.
for listening.
Thanks for listening to episode number 2. We're gonna see how this cuts.
We're gonna have to. This is gonna take.
We
some
went on a
cutting.
lot of tangents. We've been recording for 2 hours.
All right, well, catch you guys next week.
See ya. Bye.